Abhi Sampadyate. This English translation to this wonderful Sanskrit quote is, you are what your deep driving desire is. As your desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. And as your deed is, so is your destiny. A very good afternoon to the respected dignitaries and august gathering. I, Akanksha Pandey, on behalf of School of Vedic Sciences, constituent unit of MIT Art Design Technology University, would like to extend a warm hand of welcome to our dignitaries on the dais and everybody present here for the inaugural ceremony of the MIT School of Vedic Sciences. It is indeed a day to celebrate. Celebrate Indian education. Celebrate the power of knowledge. Celebrate enlightenment, which the MIT family has been imparting for the past 34 years now. The Maharashtra Academy of Engineering and Educational Research was established in 1983 as a trust by our visionary educationist, Honorable Professor Dr. Vishwanath D. Karat sir, with the vision of creating and developing professional education facilities to empower the aspiring young generation. Taking this vision forward, imparting the necessary culture to the next generation of individuals and preparing them for this noble work ahead, the parent body of MIRS MIT has launched Maharishi Ved Vyas School of Vedic Sciences as a constituent unit of the MIT Art, Design and Technology University, Pune. Before we move ahead with the inaugural program, I would request all of you to kindly rise for the World Peace Prayer.
Om Namo Vyadya Veda Pratipadya Jaya Jaya Swasamvedya Sakararthamati Prakashni Manayurtidasu Avadhari Bodhi Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Gurudeva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Ishavasyamidam sarvam. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. सर्वेपि सुखिनः सन्तु सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात्। ईदो शान्तिः अन्तरिक्ष शान्तिः पृथ्वी शान्तिः आपशान्तिः औषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिः विश्वे देवाः शान्तिः ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वशान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शान्तिरेधि। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीमभयदां जाढ्यान्धकारापहां हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदां। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नमस्सभायै। We are approaching a new Yuga Sandhya, a new dawn, where India is waking up from a short nap of a few centuries after millennia of intense activity. And this is not my statement, but the prophecy of Mahayogis like Sri Swami Vivekananda and Sri Aurobindo. They predicted over a century ago that around this time the world will take a new turn and India will play a key role in showing the world a better way to live, prosper and grow. And it's now well acknowledged that India remained a developed country for millennia, not centuries. And in all walks of life, economy, polity, entertainment, spirituality, industry, technology, art, you name it, there must be something right about how our ancestors lived, ruled, thought, educated their children, ran business and innovated. Otherwise, none can sustain success for that long. So India has the knowledge and experience to help the world live sustainably, richly, and in harmony with nature. At the core of our success was our strong scientific tradition and equal emphasis on intellectuality, emotional well-being, and inclusive spiritual outlook. In everything we did, we had the urge to create a methodology, a process, a systematization and codification, and we want to make a shastra out of it, a science out of everything. If you know that recently in the Vijayanagara Empire, as recent as Vijayanagara Empire, there was a science of how to make tambula, that pan. Every house used to make it slightly different and it was meant for a particular purpose. If a person walks in the street, you can know which house he is from because it is so unique. And we had a science of pan making. So just imagine, and then all the way to the Brahma Vichara, right? And however, to really help the world, we need to re-examine our core insights and interpret them for the times. And it starts with education. And fortunately, there are many people awakening to that need today. But it takes an altogether different level of conviction and vision to, when it is still pitch darkness out there, to say that there is dawn coming. And our founder, Sri Vishwanath Karatji, is one such visionary. And under his blessings, we are starting this School of Vedic Sciences. And he firmly believes that for youngsters to make lasting impact going forward, they need to examine both modern and traditional Indian knowledge together. And there is growing interest among young professionals to study India's native scientific knowledge and to explore its contemporary relevance. However, they face a steep learning curve due to being cut off from India's native scientific language and method of inquiry. and that too for generations. Though traditional Gurukulas preserve native knowledge and method of study, they lack the exposure to mainstream thought and to how to bridge the gap. PG programs by Sanskrit institutions also focus more on language and less on science, and are not well matched to the needs and aptitudes of modern seekers. To bridge this divide, that is the purpose of the School of Vedic Sciences. It has been launched at this MIT ADT University, will be launched today, to facilitate cross-fertilization of ideas. And our chief advisor, Padma Bhushan, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, is guiding us as well. And our School of Vedic Sciences enriches modern higher education with Indic thought in two ways: via courses for mainstream degree students which bring the Indian perspective, and via mainstream courses offered fully by the school itself. And we'll learn more about it later. And I really take this opportunity to welcome all of you for this historic occasion and learn from our visionaries on how to take this movement forward. Thank you.
For the wonderful shloka and the wonderful words. Deep Jwalanam, the lighting of lamp. Diya is a symbol of goddess Lakshmi, Saraswati, and goddess Durga, as per many scriptures. Standing Diya symbolizes the divine energy which can get away the darkness of sorrow and get us the brightness of joy. I would request the dignitaries to kindly light the lamp.
त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं निषुसीदगणपते गणे श्रुत्वा माहुर्विप्रतमं कवीनां नृते त्वत्क्रियते किञ्चनारे महामर्कं मघवञ्चित्रमर्च अभिख्यानो मघवन्नाथमानान् सखे बोधिवसुपते सखीनां रणं कृधिरणकृत्सत्यशुष्मा भक्ते चिदाभजाराये अस्मान् ॐ यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
I would now request Honorable Dr. Sunil Rai, the Vice Chancellor, MIT Art Design and Technology University, to kindly address the gathering.
Dr. Vishwanath Karatji, Chief Guest, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar Sir, Guest of Honor, Shri Deepak Ranade ji, Dr. Deepak Ranade ji, Executive President of MIT ADT University, Dr. Mangesh Karat Sir, the spirit behind this creation of this momentous school, Professor Swati Chatterjee, all the founding principal of this great school, Dr. Sai, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries off the dais, deans, principals, faculty colleagues, staff members of MIT ADT University, ladies and gentlemen, and above all, the very proud students of the pioneering School of Vedic Sciences who are joining this school today, and the proud parents. I welcome you all to this momentous day. This is a momentous day because, as was mentioned by Dr. Sai, and is always reiterated by our founder, Dr. Vishwanath Karatji, quoting Swami Vivekananda, that 21st century is the century of Mother India. Mother India is going to lead the world, and this leading the world will be manifested through education. And the education has to be of the type that will produce world leaders. And we are seeing those sitting in the audience today, the future world leaders. I also say it is a momentous day because this is the maturity as the society goes through several iterations and transcends the higher levels of maturity, as is defined in the Maslow's curve of hierarchy of human needs, starting from roti, kapda, makan, going to security, self-esteem, and finally going into self-actualization. Such things are to happen with the education system. And if the education system has to get into that final mode of self-actualization, I don't see any other way than resorting to the Vedic way of thinking, to the Vedic way of life. And these youngsters definitely understand. Let us not connote Vedic studies to mere ritualistic procedures or attach it to some religion. Vedas and Vedanta are actually the way of life. They are far above any kind of religion or any kind of practice. And since you all have chosen to enroll into the program from the School of Vedic Studies, you are the very special one. So I congratulate you all for joining this program. You must please acknowledge yourself. I also congratulate the proud parents for taking this decision of allowing your children to become the part of history, to transform the way India will think. As was mentioned by Sai, there is no doubt that this country is going to lead for thousands and thousands of years now, and it will all ride on quality education, on that Vedic thinking. So once again, I welcome all of you and many, many congratulations. I would just mention few things from the experience, some words for the students who are joining today. The first word is Shraddha. Shraddha is unquestioned submission to the thought. Shraddha, in the first place, to yourself. Please acknowledge that you are the best gift of God to yourself. Shraddha to your parents, because they are the representatives of God on this earth as far as we are concerned. Shraddha to your parents, because they show you the light. Shraddha to your fellow beings, because they are the part of the journey. And Shraddha to every single one, whether it is moving or non-moving, is something that if you imbibe in you, I think that is one of the basic principles of Vedanta ideology. So I would first suggest to all the students is to incorporate and inculcate this word Shraddha in your soul. After Shraddha is Shram. Nothing will come without Shram. And Shram is basically, again, the unquestioned, unflinching way of living the thought, living the ideology. Never say no. Everything is possible. God Almighty has given us tremendous power through this brain and then this heart to actually start taking on to any challenges. This is a commonplace in MIT University. If 2 months before you all had come and visited this campus, which incidentally is rated as the best campus in the whole country by ASSOCHAM. Yeah, for the young students, whenever I pause like this, it is pause for applause. All right. 2 months before, if you were to go to our building of College of Engineering and School of Films Technology, even this mechanical engineer serving the engineering field for 35 years could not believe that we will have completion by, and I used to keep telling Dr. Mangesh ji that, sir, ye hona nahi hai. And he said, ye hona nahi hai, yahan pe hota nahi hai. Right? Ye hona hai, aur ye hua. This is that firm belief of Shram. So, Shraddha and Shram. Of course, you will hear better things because I am also a student of Vedic studies. I keep telling Sai. Sai Saab comes to my office, to discuss with me curriculum. He tells me 10 things, I understand one. But I understand the 9 things I didn't understand are the ones which are the most profound. I will keep making efforts, Sai, to keep understanding those. And I keep telling Sai, and which is what I'll tell you immediately after this, is Samanvay. This whole thing of cooperation, this land has been great. We are not individualistic people. This land, our forefathers have taught that we coexist with others, we coexist with nature. So आपकी ही सफलता नहीं है जब तक जिनके साथ आपने जर्नी ली है वो सब सफल नहीं होते. So we have to imbibe this whole spirit of coexistence and cooperation. So there's nothing called competition, this is only co-option, where you compete with yourself and you become a part of this entire MIT ADT family. Congratulations once again. I will close my today's good wishes and blessings to these young students of the School of Vedic Sciences. I have learned one shloka, Sai. The pronunciation may please be not looked at. Rest assured that after 6 months it will be all correct. All right, so here it goes, and of course I learnt it from my Adhyatmik Guru, Sri Vividatmanandji, who is at Baroda. And he always talks about this slok whenever we actually assemble for high-end thinking, in management. Here it goes. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Mavid Vishadmastu. Sorry. It's correct? Om Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. All that I've understood is that from this, the English translation, may God is a symbol of that cosmic strength that is prevalent in the entire atmosphere. May He protect us both, the students and the teachers. May He nourish us both mentally, physically, and spiritually. May He enable us to learn better. May He enable us to work together, and let there be peace in the world. So I bless you again with happy learning, lot of success, and congratulations once again. All the best.
Sure, most of us would like to incorporate Shraddha, Shram, and Samanvay. Moving on. We are honored to be graced by the presence of 2 extremely eminent personalities. Our chief guest, Dr. Vijay Bhatkar sir, and our guest of honor, Dr. Deepak Ranade sir. Dr. Vijay Bhatkar sir, currently the Chancellor of Nalanda University, is an internationally acclaimed scientist, IT leader, and educationist of India. He is best known as the architect of India's first supercomputer, Param. And it was with his initiative, effort, and vision that several national institutions, notably amongst them being CDAC, MKCL, and India International Multiversity, were created. He has been a member of the Scientific Advisory Committee to Cabinet of Government of India, Governing Council member of CSIR, India, and E-Governance Committee Chairman of Governments of Maharashtra and Goa, a Fellow of IEEE, ACM, CSI, INAE, and leading scientific, engineering, and professional societies of India. He's been honored with Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, and Maharashtra Bhushan Awards. Other recognitions include Sant Jnaneshwar World Peace Prize, Lokmanya Tilak Award, H.K. Firodia and DataQuest Lifetime Achievement Awards, and many others. He is a distinguished alumni of IIT Delhi as well. Sir has authored and edited 12 books and 80 research and technical papers. His current research interests include exascale supercomputing, AI, brain-mind consciousness, and synthesis of science and spirituality. Sir, we are glad to have you here with us. I would request our Honorable Dr. Vishwanath D. Karat, sir, to kindly felicitate Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, sir. Thank you, sir. I would now like to introduce our guest of honor, Dr. Deepak Ranade. Dr. Deepak Ranade is the Dr. Deepak Ranade is the professor and head department of neurosurgery at D.Y. Patil Medical College. He is the director of Sanjeevan Hospital and a consultant neurosurgeon at Shashwat Group of Hospitals. Associated with research projects in brain cancer, he has completed fellowships in spine surgery from USA and Korea. He has a very deep interest in consciousness, neurotheology, and quantum physics. Apart from being a doctor by profession, Sir has a drive to unravel the mysteries of creation. He is a regular contributor to The Speaking Tree and has published more than 80 articles. Recently, he has published a book that's a compilation of his 60 selected articles. He is also an active trekker. Dr. Deepak Ranade, sir, he wishes to do advanced research in the field of consciousness. We welcome you, sir.
Who is the ex-director of MIT School of Management, associated with MIT Group since 1986. He was also very instrumental in activities of World Peace Center for the 20 long years. He is here, and he was behind Sir for starting such an institution since long. His dream has come true through this Vedic Sciences School. So we are very delighted to welcome him and to felicitate him. I request Dr. Sunil Rai, our Vice Chancellor, and Swati ji to felicitate him. Dr. Subhash Avule, ex-Vice Chancellor of the Baba Saheb Ambedkar Technological University. We have Dr. Pathan also. He is ex-Vice Chancellor of the Nagpur University, but they are the part of the MIT family, so I take the liberty not to felicitate them on, on this day. So it's a wonderful day. Dr. Kulkarni, we are really thankful to you for coming here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
An eminent educationist, passionate, progressive, strongly philosophical, hardworking is how we describe Dr. Mangesh Karat sir, whose goal is to set up robust technological quality education with value-based education systems all over India. Popular among the faculties, dean, management, council members of Savitribai Phule, Pune University. He is a great management leader who is acknowledged to have great leadership and management qualities along with the soft heart, gentle conduct, and patient hearing skills. I would request Dr. Mangesh Karat,
He
sir.
is a mentor for the MIT group, not only in the technology section, in the spiritual section also. our other chief guest for the today's program, Dr. Deepak Ranade-ji. He is a very special author. He writes articles in the Times of India, The Speaking Tree. So I told him, sometimes I feel to go to tree and talk to him, whether that tree talks only with him or with others also. So that's my question. Our founder, Dr. Karat sir, Dr. Kulkarni, our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rai sir, the principal of this Vedic Sciences, School of Vedic Sciences, Dr. Sai, and all other dignitaries, Swati, other faculty members, the directors of the schools and colleges of the MIT ADT University, the parents and my student friends. No, this is a very special day for MIT Art, Design and Technology University. This university is recently started last year, and now it is running. This is the second year of the university. Although few colleges were running on the campus since the last 10 to 12 years, but formally the operation of the university started last year. And last year when we were discussing when we were brainstorming on the issue, how we can make this university, MIT Art, Design and Technology University, very special university, very unique university. So that time we were discussing, but that time we were not knowing if some such a school will come, which our founder Karat sir was already thinking, Dr. Bhatkar sir was thinking, the Maharshi Vedvyasa MIT School of Vedic Sciences. What I mean to say, the launching of this school or starting of this school or such an innovative school, this is a very innovative school, very innovative thought. The Indian way of thinking, Indian way of science will really fetch the good name and fame to this MIT ADT University. So we got answer by launching of this school. This in coming years, that day, Dr. Rai sir and Dr. Sai, we were discussing what we are giving through different institutions. That is a requirement at a state level or at a national level. But what we are going to deliver through MIT School of Vedic Sciences, maybe through the regular programs like MSc in Vedic Sciences or BSc in Vedic Sciences and PhD program. But rather than that, what Dr. Sai has vision to deliver the courses through technology, through distance mode at a global level, that will really attract a very good name. That will really, because people are already, day before yesterday, somebody met me and he said, I wanted to do course in, yesterday there was a guest from the telco company. He was saying, I wanted to do course in Vedic Sciences. How can I do? So this is the quest, the anxiety in the people. So certainly, I am really happy because this school will create the uniqueness of the university. So I congratulate Swati, of course Karat sir and Bhatkar sir. They are the mentors. They are the what you can say, the pioneers. Those who can see what is the requirement of the society, what is the requirement of our country. So I am really thankful to them for starting this very unique school under MIT ADT University. I congratulate all the students for taking admission to this school. Dr. Sai, Swati ji, my sister, everyone, they are so passionate about the school and about the courses. And under the visionary leadership of Dr. Karat sir and Dr. Bhatkar and many others, I think this school will really flourish, very good name and fame in the coming years. So all the students, you have a great scope in every corporate, every organization. The students with the Vedic Sciences will have a great potential. With these compliments, I stop here for the day. Once again, I congratulate all of you. Thank you very much.
Honor Dr. Deepak Ranade to kindly speak a few words.
Professor Karat sir, Mangesh sir, my very, very honorable, I would say, guru and mentor and friend and philosopher and guide, Professor Bhatkar, Mr. Kulkarni, and all the dignitaries on the stage. My dear friends, I presume all of you all have taken admission into this very prestigious university for doing your further studies in Vedic science, and your parents. It's indeed a great honor to be invited on this dais, and particularly so to share space with a person like Dr. Bhatkar, who's, in my opinion, one of the sharpest minds in the country, and who's, I think, his greatest quality that I admire about him is he has the modesty to keep his mind open to all different schools of thought. And I'm sure that in the technical field, he is highly respected, but despite that, he is very open, and his deep study into the Vedantics, into Vedas and Vedanta have been absolutely outstanding. So it's always a privilege to be able to share time with him. I'd like to make a very small reference to what Rabindranath Tagore ji had said, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, knowledge is free, and the world is not fragmented into compartments by narrow walls. This is so very true, particularly in the scope of knowledge, where we have all along believed, we've always compartmentalized knowledge, that there is this Western school of thought, there is the Oriental school of thought. Knowledge has always been assigned a certain degree of hierarchy, where some particular science was given a higher, put on a pedestal, was given a greater preference. It reminds me of my days in neurosurgery when I was a resident and I used to go for rounds with my boss, erstwhile Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandya. And I remember on one occasion we were just doing a rounds and there was this patient who was deeply unconscious. And we got his MRI and the CT, and there was not showing no structural lesion at all in his brain whatsoever. And there was just a history of one small convulsion, and he had become unconscious. We had a look at the MRI and the CT scan, and we said, okay, we just got to continue, wait and watch, give him some anticonvulsant medications. But he remained to be profoundly unconscious. On our way back, when we were getting back to the wards after seeing the patient in the office, I asked Professor Pandya, I said, sir, we have imaged this brain, the structure of the brain, by doing a CT scan and an MRI. Is there no methodology of measuring the function of the brain, the functionality of the brain? As I am quite interested in quantum physics, there is this concept of entropy, which is the measurement of disorder of a particular system. So I asked him, do you not have any method by which we can measure the entropy of the brain as a system? Because we have no clue whether this person is going to wake up, whether he's going to remain unconscious. And it was at that point in time that I realized that the obsession of the Western kind of scientific thought was primarily in the direction of the gross. It would always be focused on the gross. And when you realize that I'm seeing the CT and the MRI, I'm seeing the gross structure of the brain, but there is obviously something that is missing. And then it realized on me that probably what we need to look at is the subtlety of it. And I'm very happy to tell you all that you all are now pursuing a school of thought in the Vedic school of thought, which is dealing with the journey from the subtle to the gross and not from the gross to the subtle. I think that is singularly the most important aspect that we have to understand. And to quote an example, I am also doing a bit of research in the field of cancer cells in the cancers in the brain. We do when we take a biopsy of the brain of a tumor, I am in collaboration with a particular center which is based in the university. It's called the National Center for Cell Sciences. And you'll be surprised that we give that tumor in a particular solution, and this scientists over there, they inject those tumor cells into a medium. And much to our surprise and much to our absolute chagrin, as you might say, those cells, they continue to thrive outside the body, those cancer cells. And we had done this, maybe about 25, 30 tumors we had done, and out of them, 3 of them, those tumor cells, they continued to go multiply. Once they multiply more than 20 times, we call that as, one multiplication is called as a passage. So that, once the 20 passages are complete, these tumor cells, they are called as a cell line. We have seen a lot of work going on in the research as far as treatment of cancer is concerned. But that is all in the domain of the gross. That is, we want to find out some kind of a medicine or some kind of a modality which is going to try to kill only the cancerous cells and not the normal cells in the brain. As I get an opportunity to discuss with Dr. Bhatkar also at times, if one looks at it from the gross, we try to look at destroying those cells. But if one really looks at it, each cell is also a speck of consciousness. And when we talk of processors, like in the domain of computers, in which Professor Bhatkar is absolutely scaled unbelievable heights, there are processors in the computer. So is there any method by which we can modulate the actual or modulate or process the consciousness of a cell which is growing outside the body? And this kind of a process is going to be working in the realm of the subtle. It's not going to be in the domain of the gross, because consciousness itself is something which is in the very subtle. There is no way to study consciousness because it is intangible. So if I want to do some experiments in the domain of the subtle, then I have to think of something in a totally different, out of the box. And I do believe that if we can combine this study of understanding consciousness, if I can understand what is conscious, even a single cell is conscious. What is it in that cell that really animates the cell? What is it in that cell that makes it different? We know the constituents of the cell, but what exactly, if we if we kind of get all these constituents together, can we really make a cell? Can we put life into it? So these are issues which I don't think modern science can ever come to and will ever understand. And for this deep understanding, then my journey started traveling a little in the direction of our people like Sant Jnaneshwar. And you will be very amazed to know that there is one particular treatise written by Sant Jnaneshwar, which is called as Sangdev Pasashti. With the blessings of Sant Jnaneshwar and the Almighty and the benedictions of Professor Bhatkar, I do hope to do my PhD in trying to find the similarities between quantum physics and Sangdev Pasashti. That is one of my greatest plans in life. And Professor Bhatkar has also been very, very receptive to this idea. So I would always make a strong appeal to all these students who are taking up this very, very exciting domain of Vedic sciences, that please don't assign Vedic as something ancient. Knowledge has no age. Knowledge has no age. There's no such thing as modern, there's no such thing as European, there's no such thing as Oriental. There's absolutely no hierarchy in knowledge. Knowledge is knowledge. Knowledge is absolute. So please don't try to look at it, or if anyone looks at you or makes an attempt to try to tell you that, oh, why are you doing something which is ancient and all, you have to have the conviction to tell the person that a knowledge system, this is not just knowledge, it's a knowledge system which permeates into every nook and cranny of our existence, including, for that matter, right from medicine to astrology to everywhere. There are Vedic sciences which are prevalent in almost every conceivable aspect of our lives. So I would appeal to all of you all that please don't relegate it to some kind of an era or a time frame, because no knowledge is restricted to any particular era. It is very contemporary. Every knowledge is contemporary. And I do believe that with, I'm very honestly confessing to you all that my father, who's no more here with us, he had always told me once, he said, Deepak, some point in time, I would like to see you get the Nobel Prize. I'm sorry I'm saying this on a public platform, but that was how he used to inspire me. But I do believe that with people like Dr. Bhatkar and who are doing such pioneering work and thinking out of the box and trying to look for solutions, like Professor Bhatkar can correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the, I think he's one of the pioneer who, in the process of developing the Param supercomputer, he was the pioneer of a concept which is called as parallel processing. Am I right, sir? And that parallel processing, because if you're given the limitations of how the supercomputers were in existence at that point in time, he had the vision and the maturity and the, I would say, the futuristic ability to look at a different concept of understanding and probably introducing the phenomenon of parallel processing. So he's an absolute visionary and who I get tremendous inspiration from. And I do believe that I think in the coming few decades, I will be more than happy to pass on this blessing of my father to one of you all and see one of you all get the Nobel Prize in some aspect of this Vedic sciences. I once again thank Professor Karad for giving me the opportunity to share the platform. And I wish you all and this Institute of Vedic Sciences all the very best for the future. Thank you so much.
The Kulkarni ji to speak for a few minutes and bless the occasion.
All the students who desire to continue their study in Vedic sciences, I am taking this opportunity to express my deep sense of gratitude towards the management of MIT, Professor Vishwanath Karad sir, just like a brother to me, Dr. Bhatkar sir. I am overwhelmed by the honor that you have given to me to share this very prestigious stage. I am aware of it, but I would like to speak not more than 2 minutes, sir, because we are eager to listen Dr. Bhatkar, sir. When I heard that this Vedic Sciences Institute is to be launched, I was very happy to know that, because this is a time when we are flooded with information and knowledge through IT devices. We should not be flooded, we should not be carried away. It is a time to have one thing in our mind, stability of mind and mobility of body. That make man efficient. Being a person from management, I would like to tell, Vedic science need not be only confined to particular area. Even management is also Vedic science, because we have got the good results, we have got the achievements in the past. We were, golden, we enjoyed golden age. We had a glorious past, and we are also having glorious present, not because of something which is visible and tangible to us, but because of something which is subtle. Dr. Ranade rightly mentioned, subtle, which is very powerful, and which is known as a macro element, which is G particle, so far as present knowledge area is concerned. I will only tell one thing. Vivekananda says, education is a manifestation of the perfection already in the man. Man is already perfect, but he doesn't know that he is perfect. Whatever we say that we are not perfect, these are the mistakes, percentage of the mistakes, not of the perfection. Sir, there cannot be half truth. Truth is truth, full truth. There cannot be half truth. When we say we are approaching the knowledge corridor or knowledge element, we get 50%. There is no percentage for the unity and infinity. There is a percentage only for finity and limitlessness. I don't want to speak, deliver lecture now, because we are eager to listen Dr. Bhatkar, sir. I will only tell one thing, that management, we have considered only physical, we have considered only psychological, and we have to consider spiritual. Physical gives you, no doubt, protection for the body. Mental or psychological gives you protection to your mind. And spiritual gives you a sort of encouragement to your, what is called a soul. So these are the three areas we have to explore. And if I am given opportunity, I will be happy to share my thoughts with you, all my students. I will be happy to listen from you also, because young generation is not to only listen what elders are telling. Young generation is also there to tell what elders should do. And I think I am compromising for that, for the sake of exchange of the thoughts. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And at the end of my small speech, I can only explain I can tell one thing, that it is easy to conquer the concrete, difficult to conquer the abstract. And man is abstract. If you conquer the man, you will conquer everything. Because according to Vivekananda, management is not management of the functions and management of the things and orders. Management is converting disorder into order, converting forest into garden, converting confusion into fusion. And that is why we have to think for that purpose, we have to achieve that purpose with the help of Vedic sciences, because Ved, असे एक वाक्य, जेव्हा नव्हते चराचर तेव्हा होते पंढरपूर. जेव्हा जगात काहीच नव्हतं तेव्हा फक्त वेद होते, आणि त्या वेदावरच आपण इथं आलो आहोत. आय थिंक दिस इज इनफ फॉर मी टू स्पीक अँड टू say few words on this occasion. All the best to this Vedic science, and bright future is there. I thank Dr. Karad sir. Sir, you inaugurated the Department of Humanities. I will tell you with the pride that there is nobody in the whole India, Maharashtra and India who established Department of Humanities in Engineering College. And MIT was the first one in the whole state of Maharashtra, perhaps, and I was lucky to head the department right from 87. Thank you very much, and if I have made some mistakes here and there, please pardon me for that. Thanks a lot.
Chief guest, Honorable Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, sir, to kindly enlighten the audience.
It is most auspicious
and appropriate that we started this extremely important function with the Vedic chants. We are inaugurating School of Vedic Sciences in the name of Maharshi Ved Vyas. Vedas begin, they never begin, they are eternally, really. And it is most appropriate that this school has been named after Ved Vyas. We also started this function with the lighting of the lamp, which we do in almost all auspicious functions related to knowledge, functions related to seeking of knowledge. We offered our prayers to Goddess Saraswati, the Vedic goddess of knowledge. And I must say that Professor Vishwanath Karad, this is a grand fulfillment of a dream that he had. I remember the days. I remember the day when the Rajbagh campus, when we came in, Professor Mangesh Karad told me that 15 years back, we acquired this, we got this land, not acquired, from Raj Kapoor family. And from that day onwards, recurrently, he has been telling that I want to install, I want to impart to the students of not only this university, but the constellation of universities which were to come later on, that Vedic knowledge. And if you recall, and just he showed me that when the construction of this edifice, buildings were going on, one of the things was that there were great challenges. He constructed the huts, which were to be named after great rishis. And he showed me that those rishis are not there, but we have to sit there and meditate and get the knowledge, invoke that knowledge, and impart it to our students. I just saw that hut, those rishis, the great things through which the knowledge flowed in this land for the world, entire world. I never imagined when we came in here that this campus will be converted, transformed into a university. Last year, the ADT University, and there will be a full-fledged School of Vedic Sciences. But it's a very brave attempt to resurrect the Vedic way of learning, to understand, to invoke the message of Vedas, which of course are eternal, in a formal form and impart it to the modern students. Students who are exposed to science and technology and other disciplines, and equip the students for the creation of a new man. The new man, I feel, I foresee, and Osho talked about it sometime very emphatically, that he sees the new man coming who is simultaneously Buddha and Einstein together. I think we are trying to make this. This has been recurred. Swami Vivekananda talked about it also. We are trying to create a generation who is simultaneously both. There is no chasm. Science and spirituality, in the Vedic tradition, there is no chasm. They are one thing. Veda's message is to create both enlightenment as well as development. simultaneously in this very life itself. It is not this or that. It is together. And one is not complete without the other things. The question came, I think I am very, very happy. How to create a course, a school. Students are very, very fortunate. Yesterday when Dr. Sai came to me and we were talking about it, I said, I was very pleased. And I phoned Swati again and again that how pleased, I told also, sir, how pleased I am to see this course content, the architecture of this course. And I told him that I would like to be the first student of this course. Not that, of course, I contributed to that kind of thing, but I said that kind of, from heart, no, from my very heart. And I said that now e-learning frameworks have come, networks are there in place, and we have technologies like WebEx, and we also developed in India those technologies. And I can learn. Can I learn? Can I attend these classes sitting in my own office? And we talked about how WebEx can be used. And I want to participate. And I also in the discussions and all these kind of things. So this is what is happening. You are really lucky. I have been waiting for this day for a very long time. When we'll get exposed to this profound knowledge system, when we will get exposed. Let me tell you that my journey runs from engineering, runs from this traditional electrical engineering. That time there was no electronics. Then to subjects of electronics, then to subjects of control systems, and then to systems theory. And at that time the system theory was emerging, so on, which is still not taught. And one of my aspirations is to introduce systems theory in engineering education, how to look at disparate systems like electrical engineering, mechanical, biological, social systems in one unified framework. What Humphrey addressed, learning that you can address any of these things. What you are different disciplines. Then I went to mathematics. Then I went to abstract mathematics. Then I went to philosophy. Then I went to spirituality, what is called this one. To understand the quintessence of this knowledge system. This led me, of course, kind of thing, when I came to Pune, it led me to the study of Jnaneshwari because of Professor Vishwanath Karad. He introduced me to Guru Varya Sakre Maharaj and introducing what a guru can do in life and why the importance of guru. Because I had many teachers, but when I got introduced to Guru Varya Sakre Maharaj and went to Alandi, and there was some event like this when Professor Karad had organized the World Parliament of Philosophy, Religion and Science, this one. There, I think I was introduced to Sakre Maharaj and Jnaneshwari. And I was wondering that when I was developing the supercomputer, I kept on wondering, when I was saying that everybody was elated, the supercomputers had come, world had acclaimed, and all this kind of thing. But I knew that underlying those who have studied the computers, the Turing architecture and other architectures which are coming, that this is going to be a very ephemeral thing. Today's supercomputers will be the pocket computers, or what you call the smartphones, whatever the supercomputers we developed. I never knew that one day I will be carrying in my own pocket and, of course, throw them as every 6 months or whatever it is kind of thing. I said, what is the use of this working 24 hours a day, 24/7, and all that kind of things? How this knowledge is short-lived. There I started asking the question, then what is eternal? What is Shashvat? What is that? Am I doing this my entire life? And I was even in search of quest of this eternal knowledge system, where I finally came across that this Jnaneshwari, that is around 700 years, sir was celebrating on the campus of this one. So many people, philosophers, scientists of the world, Nobel laureates, to be like that, they had converged. And I said that this knowledge of Jnaneshwari, there is a profound commentary on Bhagavad Gita, still is valid today. I cannot change a word, line. Whereas my computing things, whatever I read today, my architecture, etc., they don't last for few minutes or few hours or few weeks. So I have to learn again, throw that knowledge and doing that. What is that in it? And it so happened that Guru Varya, as I said, Sakre Maharaj in this process, I can't describe the whole process. He came to me, he said that when you said it came in the newspaper, and whatever I said, and he came and that Guru comes to you. If you have deep knowledge, deep face for knowledge, the Guru comes to you and offers this to me, and he started teaching me. All the way he will drive from Alandi to my home or sometimes to office and start teaching me this one. This is how that process began. From there, from Jnaneshwari to Bhagavad Gita, to then Prasthantari, which is the most of the founding of our all knowledge systems, Prasthantari of Upanishad, the Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita, and to them, ultimately to the Vedic knowledge system. And at that moment, I realized that after studying so many books, I used to look at every book of IIT Delhi. I had taken like a pledge that I will touch every book of this library. It's 70,000 books, at least touch those books. And I said, then where I came to that, oh my God, what a profound knowledge thing I missed for 25 years of my life. And then this was the beginning. And then I felt that the Vedic system should become. What is the Vedic system? What Guru Varya taught me? The 4 Vedas, 4 Upavedas, to understand that 6 Vedangas, which of course you will be introduced to here. Then our 6 Darshanas, the great philosophical, canonical philosophical texts of ours, and these 6 Darshanas will be, of course, you will be introduced here. Then Dharma Shastras, our Itihasas, and 18 Puranas, and a whole range of commentaries on this. This is the founding thing of knowledge system on which the whole erection of what you call Vedic knowledge system has been erected, and it exists even today, and we are learning here in the contemporary context. This is important. It is for this reason that many civilizations arose, as Arnold Toynbee, the great historian, observed why the world, 10,000 years of several civilizations which arose in this world, starting from, we learned from Sumerian, Mesopotamian, the Egyptian, the great Greek system, and kind of thing, the Roman systems, and then in the South America, then the Mayan and Incan systems, and Chinese, and so many systems came, civilizations, and they rose to their peaks and went off. And he observes, not me, and because we don't believe until some great historians from the West or from somewhere else tell us and declare, it is only the Vedic civilization, it is only Indian civilization that is still thriving and living and vibrant civilization today, and there are many examples of that kind of thing. And then so we started looking at it. What is the proof for that? The proof for that is that today's, as you said, I think Dr. Sai had mentioned in this one, it is our yoga system. The Patanjali Yoga Sutras, today reappearing in such a vibrant form today, if you see interpretations, yoga or Ayurveda, even today if you look at the Kumbha system, that is all these rituals, what we would form the Vedic rituals we perform in our marriages, in birth, and in our departures, all that system is a living system, and we are proud of that. This is to be understood. Why? Because it is erected on a profound knowledge system, what is called Vedic knowledge system. Is there a Vedic knowledge system? Is there a Vedic science? There is nothing. I would say only on this issue, only one thing, that I think there can be various views on this. Vedic knowledge system is that it's a way of looking at it. It's our drushti, how you look at the world. It's a world knowledge system, it's a viewpoint, and Vedic knowledge system is a very profound way of looking at the world. As you have got in science, Aristotelian logic, Aristotelian way of looking at science, the Newtonian way of looking at science, the Einsteinian way of looking at science, and now today we are talking about the quantum physics or quantum way of looking at science, where the consciousness is, we have started touching upon this one. Now beyond that, now we have to study beyond that kind of thing, but that alone also does not explain. Beyond that is that the transcending that also are the concepts of the Vedic knowledge system, which we have to understand and create a different world. All these chasms, all these fights and quarrels and wars are because we don't have a right world view. That is what the main problem is, this one. So I think in this school, we will now visit. We will learn the contemporary context. And you are really lucky. Those who have opted for this course will be hunting for what package will get, so that is not important. We never studied. I don't remember, Professor Karat, we ever studied that for engineering, even in those times when India was very poor, what jobs you will get, what package you will get. No! Knowledge is the most critical issue for that, what knowledge I will acquire. So this is what you will be getting. Finally, I would say that it's a great thing. I am personally very, very elated. And I think what Professor Vishwanath Karat really has from the very heart yearned that this campus should have, this one, the Vedic knowledge system, and this happened. And I must congratulate Swati that this task was given to you. Once you got this task, and I never knew that this one, that you have done it so beautifully. And then you introduced me to Sai, and the entire team, as I see, I think the great teachers, I think they are going, I would say that one by one, when I had some occasion to discuss with them, my God, now I said the foundations are being, the architecture will be firmly laid, which has not been done so far, not on any campus. We do study Swan, but the way it has been visualized in your course, when you offer the MSc courses, the PhD, Swan, MPhil, and all that thing, integrating with the BTech, the knowledge engineering, which was, I know, there are so many things which will happen on this campus. A lot of experiments, a new knowledge system will come out, and we will, for the first time, I can declare that, Professor Karat sir, that why we always followed. First universities came in 57, I think modern universities. We had earliest universities which came in Takshashila and Nalanda, and we had great system. People flocked to come together to learn to this land, this one, crossing all odds, and they were the great universities which transformed the world. This is the first time I'm seeing a very sincere affair in the contemporary context that is a Vedic system which India is advancing now, in the contemporary context which will be taught, and this is how the new universities of tomorrow will be created, when people from the world will come to learn here. This is the method. So I'm very happy that MIT has done it, Professor Karat has done Precept, and I think we really leading this thing, bringing this great faculty here, from whom I would like to learn. It's a great thing happening for our country, for our education system. Thank you very much. And we declare that may this school be great perfection, bring in new view to Indian way of learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Social worker, a man with a great vision. Our father founder, Honorable Dr. Vishwanath D. Karat, sir. Sir is a renowned educationist and a thinker who is totally committed to development of technical education and the cause of raising quality of life of the Indian masses for the betterment of tomorrow. Honorable Dr. Vishwanath Karat, sir, a man of compassion, has a deep sense of purpose. I would request, sir, to kindly address the audience.
Friends, it truly fills my heart with a sense of pride and pleasure when I stand before you on this most auspicious occasion of starting a very unique institution, possibly a very historic event in my opinion, for all of us, taking the initiative for starting this Maharishi Vedavyas MIT School of Vedic Sciences. And what a good fortune, friends, that we have most esteemed one of the leading scientists in the field of computer and IT, Dr. Vijay Bhadkar, to bless us. This occasion, because of his mere presence, has added to the grace and beauty, the decency, decorum and dignity for this entire event, possibly a historic event, I repeat again, a unique event, what I said initially, of taking this initiative. I feel highly proud that Dr. Sai has taken up this responsibility as a dean, and you had just heard him initially speaking about the mind of Mr. Sai. We have another guest who has just left because he is an examiner and he is a neurosurgery examination is going on, but only because of his passion and the fire in his belly, he had come here in between. Thank you, Mr. Ranare, our Arvind Kulkarni and my friends, and those students and the parents and the guardians who have come and entered into this institution. Possibly the first batch, you may call first golden batch, I will call it. I do not want to speak any longer, but I would like to just make a comment to you. We had a dream about 10, 15 years. Myself and Dr. Vijay Bhadkar, we have been discussing this issue, and we had a tremendous passion and possibly a fire in the belly that I wanted to make a beginning of this School of Vedic Sciences. for many reasons, of course, whatever the surroundings, whatever the discussions in the field of education, I was little hesitant. But you can see at least that I don't know, I should not call myself as a great visionary in the field of education. But the very symbol of the various ashrams, Sapta Rushi, Sapta Ranga or Sapta Swar, this whole creation, which is giving a glimpse of Indian culture and tradition and philosophy. भारतीय संस्कृति, परंपरा और तत्वज्ञान का छोटा दर्शन देने का जो प्रयास है, कैसे हुआ, क्यों किया पता नहीं, लेकिन सही possibly you were to come here to Rajbagh, leaving your job in the most highest corporate world, getting possibly crores of rupees as your salary, a computer scientist, but a great man in Vedic literature in the Sanskrit language itself. So proud of what the India stands for. पता नहीं लेकिन ये जो आश्रम बने हैं यहाँ पे, मुझे अभी ऐसे लगा भटकर सर, ये क्यों बनाए भाई, क्या वजह था? ये नदी के किनारे ये राजबाग आना, यहाँ भारतीय संस्कृति यानी ज्ञान दर्शन की बात होना, और वट एवर क्रिएशन, यू नो इट फ्रेंड्स, that I am a mechanical engineer by profession, but a very mad architect. The concept, planning, architecture and design, I don't do it, but there is an invisible force or energy in the form of Almighty God, whatever you call it. But in my opinion, of course, as we have been Vaishnavites, Sant Jnaneshwara, philosopher Sant Jnaneshwara and Sant Tukaram have been two names which I always try to utter. And the great noble son of India, Swami Vivekananda, who had given that vision that in this century, my mother India, he said that time, will emerge as a knowledge quarter of the whole world and will show the pathway of harmony and peace to mankind. पता नहीं 1897 की बात है, but those great men with the great vision, जिसे विभूति कहा जाता है, ऐसे व्यक्ति के मुख से 1897 में बोला गया. मुझे लगता है कि ये छोटा सा स्कूल will prove to be a symbol and prove to be a center of that knowledge divine. पता नहीं ज्ञानमयो विज्ञानमयो ऐसे कहा जाता है. महर्षि व्यास का नाम, वेद व्यास जी का नाम लेना बड़े सद्भाग्य की बात है मुझे लगता है. सुबह ही बात हुई, मैं इतना बोलूँगा, I had the fortune of writing an article 27 years back when I was a professor. That time, I don't know why I wrote, but I had written that time, Sant Jnaneshwara, philosopher sent Jnaneshwara to Albert Einstein. पता नहीं, a comparison was a subject of ridicule for me. Many of my friends said, क्या पागल हो गए क्या सर आप? कहाँ संत ज्ञानेश्वर और कहाँ अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन? मुझे लगता है, मैं बोला भाई ये उल्टा है, कहाँ संत ज्ञानेश्वर और कहाँ अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन. तुलना नहीं करने का. इन माई ओपिनियन देयर हैज बीन अ मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग. ब्लाइंड फेथ की बात है, धार्मिकता की बात है, अध्यात्म की बात है. अध्यात्म शास्त्र, ये तो शास्त्र बोला है उसको. इसमें काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मद, मत्सर, विकार, विकृति और विकल्प कम करने का शास्त्र है. वो भी साइंस है. पब में जाना, कब में जाना, ये शास्त्र नहीं हो सका, उसके लिए दिमाग नहीं लगता है. बट लेट मी टेल यू फ्रेंड्स दैट द ब्रिटिशर्स वेर द पीपल हु हैड पुट अप अ ब्लेम. इसको ब्लाइंड फेथ कहा गया. रिलीजन का मतलब ड्यूटी होता है, ये ड्यूटी है, लेकिन मातृदेवो भव, पितृदेवो भव, आचार्य देवो भव, अतिथि देवो भव, ऐसी बात है. ये भारतीय फिलॉसफी है. द reverence and respect to the mother, the father, the family, the society, the nation and the whole world. Word है वसुधैव कुटुंबकम. World as one family. Global village तो अभी बोला गया, लेकिन वसुधैव कुटुंबकम ये जो शब्द है, कम से कम 5000 साल के पहले. कितना सुंदर चिंतन है देखो. लेकिन क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ, किसने किया, अपनी गलती क्या होगी, भारतीय अस्मिता को भूल कैसे गए, पता नहीं. लेकिन अभी साई ने और सर ने, विजय भटकर सर ने कहा कि द टाइम हैज़ कम एंड द रियल वैदिक विजडम, the pathway which has been shown by Maharishi Vedvyas till today to up to Jnaneshwar and Tukaram and Vivekananda. Now you are the people, those students who have taken the admission. मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि कई सालों में लोग ढूंढते आएंगे कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड, आई एम सेइंग इट वेरी स्पेसिफिकली, MIT School of Vedic Sciences and Ethical Management. ये मैनेजमेंट का शास्त्र है भाई, कैसे जीना और कैसे नहीं जीना सिखाता है. सभी धर्म ग्रंथ जो भी है, गीता हो, बाइबल हो, कुरान हो, त्रिपिटक हो, ये सारे नाम ले लो, ये सारे तो धर्म ग्रंथ नहीं, पूजा अर्चा के सिर्फ, लेकिन ये तो जीने की पद्धति है, जीवन ग्रंथ है सारे. ये दुनिया के सामने रखने की अभी बात है. एंड विजय भटकर हैज़ बीन द सिंबल एंड द मॉडल, नॉट बिकॉज ही इज़ माई ओनली esteemed friend, but he is my more than a brother to me. And possibly his meeting with us and this introduction and a guidance from him, and even Dr. Mashalkar's guidance, has been a very great instrumental part in the life of this institution. मैं शायद आपको एक बात बताना चाहता हूँ. अभी सर की ज़्यादा स्तुति करना उनको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, but when he made a mention about the supercomputing and today's position of computer and a smartphone carrying in the pocket, when our own Prime Minister, late Rajiv Gandhi ji, had gone to America at that time, supercomputers का size क्या होता सर? बड़े रूम के जैसा. The computers were of the size of 10-20 feet by 30 feet. Such a huge size. That was the situation. But Americans were the people who took the lead in making supercomputers. And our own Prime Minister, India, Rajiv Gandhi, very progressive gentleman, when he went to America for the official visit, he was tempted to request the Americans, and he asked the American government whether they can give the technology of supercomputer to India. Very unfortunately, the American government refused it. Your own Prime Minister was humiliated. Rather, he was insulted and highly humiliated when Rajiv Gandhi came back. He had a tremendous pain in his mind and heart. And what he did was, he called a special meeting. I'm telling a small story, but which is very important. He called a meeting of all the great scientists of India, C.N.R. Rao, then Pitroda, and so many names can be taken. Almost 200-300 scientists of India, the whole India. He called a meeting. Unfortunately, of course, Vijay Bhatkar, he was hardly 40, 41, 42 that time. Nambiar was the secretary, electronics, and he knew him because of some reasons. And Vijay Bhatkar was fortunately present for the meeting. Not a special guest, but as an ordinary person. Can you imagine? Rajiv Gandhi had asked all the Indian scientists, अरे भाई इतना बड़ा देश है, आप इतने बड़े लोग हैं, बुद्धिमान हैं, इस देश में कोई ऐसा साइंटिस्ट नहीं जो कंप्यूटर, सुपर कंप्यूटर बना सकता है. बात तो बहुत टचिंग है. And then the discussion went on a day or two or 3 days. All people were expressing their feelings and their brain and intellect, trying to think how to make a supercomputer. And can you believe, friends, not to praise him again, but after 2 days of discussion, there was no one who was ready to take up the responsibility of making a supercomputer. And on the third day, almost on the concluding part, Nambiar, the secretary, the electronics secretary at that time, he said to Vijay Bhatkar, why don't you speak? He was not an invited scientist that time. And because of the insistence of Nambiar, Vijay Bhatkar was compelled almost rather and told by Nambiar that please go and speak your mind. Because that time, I think Ranade made a mention about it, Vijay Bhatkar had already developed a concept of parallel computing, a new version of his own. And Vijay Bhatkar came to the stage very senior great scientist of India, the whole India. And Vijay Bhatkar, such a short person, like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj जैसी कद के है, सामने जब खड़े हो गए, started saying something about supercomputing, making of it. Some senior scientists from the audience, somebody got up and said, "Oh, you think that you can make a supercomputer for India? How many years it will take to make it? 10 years? 20 years? Because you know that if you want to make a supercomputer, possibly that time it must be taking 3, 4, 5, 10 years. Vijay had answered that time. He said with a great confidence, he said, "Friends, if you do not create a disturbance or obstacle in my process of developing, I can make the supercomputer within that much of time, which otherwise would be taken to import it from America. 2 या 3 साल." With a great confidence when he said this, some people had a very ridiculous smile on their face. But you know it, friends, thereafter the responsibility was taken by him and he was given the CDAC in Pune and he was made the director. And you know, within 2.5 years' time, I repeat, only 2.5 years' time, he made the first supercomputer 8000 for India. And within next 6 months, Param supercomputer 10,000 was made for Mother India. And which was declared later on, that computer was taken for the International Exhibition of the Computers in Germany. And he carried it and it was declared to be the best of the best in the whole world. मुझे खुशी इस बात की है कि ऐसी एक व्यक्ति, ऐसा एक शास्त्रज्ञ, साइंटिस्ट बोलो, जो भी बोलो, a great man of tremendous background of mathematics, engineering, science, but more than that, he is based on his spiritual component of his life. संत वृत्ति का शास्त्रज्ञ ऐसे मैं कहा था. ये अपना भाग्य है साई कि you have met Vijay Bhatkar, Deepak Ranade and many others here, and possibly now it is our duty to proceed further and do something very unique. But मुझे विश्वास है कि MIT School of Vedic Sciences will carry an appropriate message of what India stands for. ये कोई blind faith की बात नहीं. मुझे विश्वास है कि ये जो बच्चे जिन्होंने एडमिशन लिया है, they will have a great future. And the corporate world, not of India alone, but the whole world, they will come in search of these people. हमें ऐसे लोग चाहिए, ऐसे बुद्धिमान हो, बाकी सारा जो भी शास्त्र हो, but we would like to have the people and the men with the winning personality, with the ethical and moral component of life, and they will really lead and guide the entire human race. That is my personal feeling. I really once again say that those boys and girls have taken the admission. They can be rest assured that when Sai is there, who himself is a computer scientist, so many years, 11 years he worked in America, but with a great background of Vedic literature. Friends, when I'm saying this Vedic literature, I have been repeatedly telling this, but it's my duty to read out to you one small stanza on this occasion. I had the fortune of addressing the World Parliament very recently in America, in Salt Lake City last year. I was one of the keynote speakers. 10,000 delegates. I can't imagine, but I have seen it. 10,000 delegates, the scientists, scholars, thinkers, philosophers, men of religion, men of spirituality, present in the audience from 80 nations, about 20 keynote speakers. Unfortunately, a teacher of you people, a brother, was given this chance. And do you know what was the subject? The subject was whether the value-based Indian education system, what did it say? Value-based Indian education system or the universal education system will help to minimize the chaos, confusion, bloodshed, massacre, terrorism and violence in the world. दुनिया में जो आतंकवाद है, the situation which you know it very well, ये कम करने में आपकी शिक्षा पद्धति काम करेगी, कोई रास्ता दिखाएगी, is the subject. I had spoken two things. I had said to them that if the world universities and the institutions, if they can understand the role of what Vivekananda had said, union of science and religion / spirituality alone will bring harmony and peace to mankind. Science and spiritual component of life need to be coupled and taught in each and every university, and possibly this Vedic school of sciences is going to be the beginning. And thereafter I had read one small stanza from our literature of India, जिसे कहा गया है fellowship. It says, friends, we are the birds of the same nest. We may wear different skins, we may speak different tongues, we may believe in different religions, we may belong to different cultures, yet we share the same home, the Mother Earth, born on the same planet, covered by the same skies, gazing at the same stars, breathing the same air. We must learn to progress together or miserably perish together. For a person can live individually but can only survive collectively. नीचे लिखा है अथर्ववेदा. You will not believe it, but the moment I said Atharvaveda, this is from the Vedic literature of India, Mother India. You will not believe, not for me, but for this version of fellowship from Veda and Vedic literature, all the 10,000 delegates got up and they were clapping for 1.5 minutes. That's an indication of the new world, and possibly Sai you have to play that role.
Thank you, sir, for empowering and motivating us to do better. I would now request Professor Swati Chatim ma'am to propose the vote of thanks.
I think I'm speechless after hearing to such words of wisdom from Honorable Dr. Vijay Bhatkar sir, our founder Dr. Karad sir, our Vice Chancellor. I think I would just like to say a few words. The story that Karad sir just shared with us about Bhatkar sir, I think MIT School of Vedic Sciences stands for that how you really develop the quality of being the conviction that you should have in your life. It was the conviction that Bhatkar sir had, because of which he could say that, okay, I will do it. I think MIT School of Vedic Sciences, the basic concept, since last 35 years, the very foundation of MIT, which was laid down by Karad sir and his friends, it's based on, as he said, union of science and spirituality alone can bring peace to mankind. And since so many years, along with Bhatkar sir, they are thriving hard to really realize these words of Swami Vivekananda in different forms, different ways. And as Bhatkar sir said, this is the fulfillment. MIT School of Vedic Sciences is the fulfillment of those thoughts, those actions that they are taking since so many years. Because this is going to really help all of us to realize what we are supposed to do in the education system. When we talk about that MIT Art, Design and Technology University is saying that the journey from knowledge to wisdom, how we really achieve that, I think this school will help us understand how to explore that journey. So, saying thank you, I think that is a very, very small word. Sir, Bhatkar sir, when he called me last night, thrice, actually I am feeling already I am on the moon. Because his words saying that, Swati, the curriculum has come up so well. I had not done anything. I am just there to help the people out. It's Dr. Sai and his team. But basically, I feel it is the conviction of Dr. Honorable Karad sir and Dr. Bhatkar sir. Throughout their life, they were trying, and they had that belief that this is what is needed. Such a strong belief. I think the students probably in their language, I would like to say something. आप सबने वो शाहरुख खान का एक डायलॉग सुना होगा, वो कहता है कि इतनी शिद्दत से तुम्हें पाने की कोशिश की है. You know, you have read that book Secret. You have that belief, strong belief, and you definitely, every particle of the universe will conspire to achieve that. I think Karad sir and Bhatkar sir are the embodiment of what we are trying to do through Vedic sciences. When sir said to me that, Swati, I would like to be the student of Vedic sciences, I said, I think it is Karad sir or yourself, it is already within you. That has came out in the form of MIT School of Vedic Sciences. Through their actions, through their words, we could learn so much. That Vedic Sciences concept is within them, that has came true today. And I think, sir, I would just like to say that with the team, how I met Sai, because it was their conviction. They wanted somebody with a background of technology and understanding of Vedic knowledge. And I was wondering, like, how do I find such a person? Because nobody is really so much into Vedic knowledge, and if it is about computer science, a person who has stayed in USA, having such a high-profile job, I was surprised myself when I met him. I had a discussion with him, and he is here today. It is only and only because of the blessings and the belief of these two great men sitting on the dais. I think, sir, I would like just to say that you just keep showing us the path. We'll definitely try our best to achieve what you are talking about, that India should emerge as a knowledge corridor of the whole world. And that is definitely going to happen because we have the blessings of such people. Their words matter a lot. I'm thankful from the bottom of my heart, for all those parents who had really believed in this thought, who feel that there is something that is going to help them. As I think Bhatkar sir said it, that don't study for what kind of a job you are going to get. Don't study for what package you are going to get. But how do you really program your mind not to think from those angles? That is what Vedic science is going to teach you. So I'm really grateful to everybody. I think Dr. Pathan sir, Dr. Kulkarni sir, Dr. Avade, Dr. Mangesh Karad sir, my elder brother, I think Mangesh sir will agree, my brother will agree with me that we are blessed to have got this opportunity to serve a kind of organization like MIT, wherein we have people like Bhatkar sir and Karad sir to guide us. So all of us, we are very much thankful. See, the Vice Chancellor, when he spoke, I was just wondering, how does it happen that we get like-minded people? I was not knowing that he is so close to Vedic sciences as well, being a man of engineering. But this happens because we believe in this thought, this very thought. So the nature conspires and it brings us together. So this is a great beginning, and I'm thankful to everybody present here. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
I would request everybody to kindly rise for the Pasayana.
परस्परे
ते सर्वाहि सदा सज्जन सोयरे होतु किं बहुना सर्वस्व